Welcome to Apartment Market Dynamics from MPF Research. I'm Jay Parsons with Greg Willett, the VP for Research and Analysis at MPF Research. And today we are wrapping up our 6-part series on what to watch for in the apartment industry in 2011. Last time we told you about the major markets to watch in 2011, and today we're going to give you some smaller markets to look for significant revenue growth in the coming year. Now these are markets with fewer than 100,000 apartment units. And Greg, give us a little background on this topic to get us started.
Like the major markets, some of these smaller ones really got hammered during the recession, and that's particularly true for places in California and Florida. But speaking in general, the small markets really did a little bit better than the major ones, and part of that just comes down to they didn't have any active construction going on as we went into the downturn, and in particular there were not any of those should-have-been condos that were coming online that ended up in the apartment market. Really that didn't occur anywhere in the smaller markets except in a handful of the Florida metros.
And Greg, with these smaller markets, their performances could really shift on a dime with job growth or job losses. And so with a little bit of job production in the coming year, we should be able to see some meaningful growth, right?
You're right, Jay, and it really won't take a lot of job growth to get some of these going. We've actually got several metros that really kind of represent what's happening across the region, and Albany is one of those examples. If you look at the central to upstate New York area, you're getting some really solid apartment market performances all the way across the line there. What made us really choose Albany as the representative for this group is we do like the fact that it has a lot of healthcare and education jobs, and is also emerging as a tech growth center. Also, it has a pretty good premium to buy versus rent, so that's going to help that market avoid loss of renters to purchase as the economy gets a little bit better.
And moving halfway across the country to number 4, Oklahoma City. And what really makes this one special is the employment story. Oklahoma City ranked among the nation's leaders for job growth on a percentage basis in 2010. A lot of that was driven by growth in the oil and gas industry, but perhaps more surprising was the growth in the tech sector. There was an industry group called Tech America Foundation, which recently said that Oklahoma City was #1 in the nation for percentage job growth in the tech sector. And that certainly will help bring younger adults to Oklahoma City that tend to rent, and that could help lead to a spur in some construction as well. Already we've seen ground break on a luxury property, about 300 units in southwest Oklahoma City, and we could see more construction start to pick up, which would be pretty interesting because Oklahoma City didn't really see a whole lot of construction in the past cycle despite being so close to Texas where all the construction was happening.
Well, while Oklahoma City didn't get much construction in the last cycle, one that really did is Salt Lake City, and that actually comes in at the number 3 spot for us. And it's a different story than some of the rest of them. Again, they were having construction during that downturn, so they got hurt pretty badly during the recession. At this point, however, occupancy is on its way back up. You still have some product that's in initial lease up, so that's holding down the overall performance a little bit, but those new units are progressing nicely and everything else has pretty much filled up. The employment story here is phenomenal, and the percentage growth rate of employment just really blows away every other market on this list. So with that sort of economic activity there, it's going to be hard to go wrong with Salt Lake City as long as new construction doesn't come back right away.
And at number 2 on the list is Greenville, South Carolina. And like Albany, we're choosing Greenville because it represents a larger story going on in the Carolinas, which has been a very attractive economic market. So certainly a lot of things to like across the Carolinas: Columbia, Charleston, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and even Wilmington among the smaller markets. And but we pick out Greenville in particular because, again, there's a very special employment story here. Greenville has gained a number of jobs due to growth in the auto production industry and also in some small industries like communications equipment and apparel production. And as a result of all that, Greenville's occupancy rate is in very strong shape. It's well beyond the recovery process and certainly in very good condition as at the end of 2010. And as a result, rents really jumped significantly in 2010. In fact, Greenville ranked among the nation's leaders for rent growth in the past year, and now I believe monthly rents are at an all-time high in the upstate area.
So that's a good story for Greenville. But we've got one better story, and for that we go to El Paso. And you know, if you've been watching these videos during the course of the year, El Paso has come up several times. This can't be a surprise for you. The employment story is good in this market, partly because of the expansion that is occurring at Fort Bliss, but really superseding that in the big picture, the number of immigrants coming across the border from Mexico. And it's this weird situation where you have Juarez, which is often called the most dangerous city in North America, on one side of the border. The other side, you have El Paso, which a recent study rated El Paso with having the lowest crime rate in the country for any metro of its size. So it's a very, very different situation from one side of the border to another. Strong housing demand at this point. The apartment market is completely full. Rents are rising very rapidly. Something we have talked about, we are going to get a wave of construction in El Paso. It's clearly on the way, but not much of it has started yet. So 2011, not much new supply. There's still another year or so of these incredible results coming in the El Paso apartment market.
So Greg, there's our top 5, but are there any other spots worth mentioning that could crack that list in 2011?
Again, with the small markets, they can move pretty quickly. So some that are not even on the radar screen right now actually could end up on that list. A couple more that we will be watching, certainly Albuquerque falls into that category. Hartford, Connecticut, I'd throw that in there as another one-off. And maybe a surprise given the lackluster performance we see pretty much elsewhere in Southern California, the Ventura market looks like it's got some momentum as well.
So there's what to watch for. And that wraps up our 6-part series on what to look for in the apartment industry in 2011. If you missed any of the previous episodes, you could find those on our website. So until 2011, for Greg Willett and MPF Research, I'm Jay Parsons. Thank you for watching Apartment Market Dynamics.
Want more? Go deeper with NPF Research's apartment market reports. From a national level, down to individual metros, to specific neighborhoods, NPF Research has been providing unparalleled apartment market intelligence to the multifamily industry for almost 5 decades. Learn more by contacting us at 877-284-4938 or visit www.npfresearch.com and click on Market Reports.